week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is The Magic Mike Show, episode 326. Mr. Somich.
Aqueduct.
Punch. Huzzah. I was ready to do the huzzah with you because I just saw Shang-Chi finally finish that. How you doing today?
Oh, that's good, man. I'm doing good. I'm ironically excited about the worst track not the worst track, the lowest end track of the New York NYRA circuit. So I had to give Aqueduct a little love of the opening, man.
Why? We had the late pick 4 ticket that we gave out Monday for today's sequence. Well, at least mine didn't hit and your original one didn't hit. I don't know if it hit after scratches. Did you update it?
I did. I didn't add the 12, though. I didn't add the 12 in the last race, so that kind of got me out of there. But the reason, and this is going to be the best thing I saw today, which is ironic that Aqueduct is going to ever be the best thing I saw. But last Monday we talked about Sunday. You had that pick 6 carryover. One of the couple customers hit it for 81,000. We had a bunch of pick 5 tickets for 2,400. Today, we have another pick 6 carryover at Aqueduct. So tomorrow, you're going to have a nice big pick 6 pool. Highly recommend playing it. But I was working on the bombs over the weekend. And Aqueduct, I'm definitely doing tomorrow. I've already worked on that. And then Saturday, I'm kind of in flux because we also have the pick 6 carryover that's getting paid out at Gulfstream. So maybe do Gulfstream Del Mar. Not sure yet. But the fields are huge at Aqueduct. They're huge. They're competitive. And like we've been on the turf every day. The Aqueduct racing is better than the Belmont racing was, and like you're getting big fields, big prices, interesting races. Like I ironically got to give some props to Aqueduct right now. They're bringing a good product.
Right, and we haven't seen them in almost 2 years, so they're making up for lost time. Yeah, the racing was interesting earlier today watching it. You had Rob Atras had 2 entered, and he scratched 1, and I said he wins almost 50% in scenarios like this. So obviously the Rob Atras horse did what you expected it to do. But then the rest of the races, they kind of went a little chalky until that last one, and it was a shorter priced horse, but neither of us used it. For me, it was because Saffie Joseph Jr. trained, and I don't think he's won in New York. Today was the first time he's won in New York in like 4 months, so that's why I played against it. Dylan Davis riding that hot right now to overcome the Saffie Joseph cold.
Well, we had a Dylan Davis 11-1 with Clement. We've talked about that angle multiple times. It comes through with the first time started there again. And you mentioned like it got chalky late. It was not chalky early. Let me tell you about the early part of the card where I think 4 of the 12 horses in race 5 would have carried over the pick 5. And the pick 6 started out with it was 9-1 over 11-1 into that late pick 4 sequence that we covered. So it was prices galore at Aqueduct last weekend, and it's logical prices that are like between that 5-1 and 12-1 range. That's what's winning. I love it when those horses win. The third race is won by a 28-1, which I couldn't have gotten to. I know some people did, but it was a collapse horse, and that horse they would pick the right collapse horse, I guess. But just really good prices and big fields. You have 12 horses going on the turf. You're going to be able to find some prices, and it's been a really good week and a half of racing at Aqueduct. I am shocked. I am this excited about Aqueduct racing. I never thought I'd be this excited about Aqueduct racing, but it right now has been the best track going, which is crazy to say.
We'll see if that holds up come Kentucky Derby trail time. Probably, I think Mike's tone will change a little bit, but we'll see what happens. We debated about Aqueduct or Del Mar, and then the Blinkers Off guys beat us to the punch. So they actually, yesterday's show, covered the late pick 4 sequence at Aqueduct. So if you want insight on that, we've got you covered. Go to the Racing Dudes YouTube channel. It's there. You can watch the live stream, or you can, of course, download the podcast anywhere you get podcasts. We're going to be at Del Mar, where I would say that this is one of the best late pick 4 Saturday fields they've had in quite some time that wasn't like their big day. It wasn't like a Pacific Classic day. So I'm very excited about Del Mar. But before we get there, is the Aqueduct thing the best thing you saw, or do you have something else for me?
No, the Aqueduct field sizes, the pick 6 at Aqueduct, the ability to make some money at Aqueduct, that is the best thing I've seen in the last week. It's been incredible. Minus my wireless charger. Still the best thing I've seen in a while. But I'm giving Aqueduct some love today.
Better than Shang-Chi, because that is the best thing that I saw. I've been excited about this thing. What did it come out in July, August? I don't know. It's been a very long time since Shang-Chi came out, it feels like. So I finally got a chance to watch that on Disney+, which was pretty nice. I loved it, aside from in the third act when it suddenly turns into like, as my wife said, turns into a Godzilla movie for no reason. You take out the Michael Bay-ness of that big fight at the end there, and I thought it was a really great movie. What did you think? Because I know you saw it before me and you texted me about it.
I thought it was excellent. I actually didn't mind the Michael Bay third act. I mean, it's one of those classic Marvel problems that you've had in a bunch of their movies where they kind of just
yeah.
a little bit big toward the end. It's funny watching that movie, and after seeing some of the Disney Plus shows, it makes me wonder if that would have been a better Disney Plus show. If you could have gone more into the character development, maybe like done an 8 1-hour episodes, go heavy into the character development early, and then you could have more time in, what is it, Tongli, whatever, the magical
Talo,
town.
yep.
Talo. There you go. You got more time in Talo, and then that last fight is broken up over a process of that last hour is broken up over a process of 3 episodes. So you're able to digest a little bit more of what's going on in there, see more of the Talo side of it, and then be able to have that big action fight. But I think that's going to be a problem with Marvel moving forward. So every time I watch one of these things, I'm going to wonder, would this be a better Disney Plus show? But I thought the movie was still excellent. And I'm interested to see how exactly it fits into Phase 4, because you didn't have any of the multiverse crap. So without that, how are we going to make this spin around with what's going to happen next there?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions, and Eternals is out now. I'll see that when it hits Disney Plus, which should be, if they stick to their 45-day window thing like they do for most movies, it's going to be right before Christmas, which is perfect timing because that's when Spider-Man No Way Home comes out. So a lot to look forward to if you're Marvel fans, but a lot to look forward to if you're a Del Mar horse racing fan or a fan of making money, because Mike and I are about to give out some winning tickets here at Del Mar for the late pick 4 sequence on Saturday, November 20th. Let's get into it, buddy. Riders up! Forgive me if you're watching I forgot to pull up the entries for this. I was like getting ready to go, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't have anything to show. So while I work on that, we'll let Mike talk. But kicking off the late pick 4 at Del Mar on Saturday, November 20th. Race 6 is a 6.5 furlong dirt sprint for 10 juvenile maiden fillies. Mike, 4 of the 5 debuting runners, they actually drew the farthest 4 outside posts. So the gate crew, sorry, the Breeders' Cup was not the last time you had a lot of fun. Adare Manor, filly who nearly won on debut for Bob Baffert at 11-2 odds, is your unsurprising favorite at 9-5. Papa Mandela's got the 4-1 second choice. The aptly named Microshare for My Racehorse. Mike Smith is aboard. Her workout page is just riddled with bullets. Are either one of these your top pick?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I wasn't going to put the 3 Adair Manor on top here, but Adair Manor just makes a ton of sense. And clearly the fastest horse. You mentioned the bullet workouts for the Mandela horse, but the Mandela horse isn't that fast. I mean, they're kind of slow bullets, which is funny to say, but like the last one was 36-2 and was the fastest of 4 horses. Like there's a bullet and then there's a bullet, right? And this is definitely the first one where it's like, yeah, okay. You outran 3 other horses. That's great. And Mandela's pretty good first time out, around 18%. And Mike Smith takes them out, which is a little interesting. Not one of those normal Mandela riders. Horse went for $450,000, but this is one of those spendthrift My Racehorse horses, and they have not generally done very well, even when they have a big purchase price tag. So I am not all that interested here in the 4. I would put the 4 in kind of that deep ticket area, but I think it's going to be a tough job to win first time out here. You mentioned some of the firsters on the outside. The 8, 9, and 10, none of those trainers really fire first time out, so you can kind of throw all those out. I'm only going to end up too deep here. I do think the 3, like I said, Adair Manor is probably your best horse. Should get the lead. Should be awfully tough on the front end. My biggest issue here is like what the price is going to be, right? Are we looking at like 3 to 5? I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be way lower than 9 to 5. I think that's kind of a pipe dream.
Yeah, I'm with you. She's well, and the horse that she was. It's weird that you would see like 11-2 for a Baffert horse and almost wins. Her stablemate in the race was actually 3rd, and she was 4-5, and Pratt was aboard, so that horse had a lot of steam. They both broke pretty kind of slowly, which is not customary for Bob Baffert 2-year-olds, but they this horse at least, Adari Manor, she ran up and she stayed engaged and she never gave up. She loses just by a neck, but she should be able to win. You would think she's by Uncle Mo. Her dam won 2 stakes at age 2. So there's plenty of breeding here to suggest that she'll win. And I like that, she just ran on Halloween. Baffert runs her back 1 time, and she gets a 47-2. Not a bullet, but that's a very good time right there. And sometimes, I think you mentioned this last show, that it's better to look beyond the bullets because anybody can spot a bullet. Look for the 2, the 4. That's what you get here with the Dari Manor. It's pretty fast time. So I'm with you on this horse. I didn't actually look at your ticket, so I'm going to go blind on this one. My top pick is going to go all the way to the rail peripheral. I don't know if you like this horse at all or not. But Richard Baltus, first of all, I'm getting 8-1 on this horse, which I think is a great price when you're looking at what Mike said, probably 3-5 on a Dari Manor. Baltus debuts her on turf, and it's at a mile, and it's probably the race that he could get her into at that point. And it made sense because both of her older siblings are turf winners, but her dam was a Grade 2 winner, multiple Grade 2 winner on dirt, including, by the way, the Chaluki Stakes, which if you want to see the preview for that, Mike Somich did that. It's over on the Race Dudes YouTube channel. Overall, the 3 foals that have raced out of this dam, they're only 1 for 8 routing, but they're 6 for 7 hitting the board with 2 wins sprinting. So I think cutting back is going to be really helpful. Baltus is adding the blinkers here. I also like that she was at San Luis Rey Downs before her debut. After that, she was at Santa Anita. Now we're going to come to Del Mar instead of staying at San Luis Rey Downs. So she really got a feel for the track, and you can see based off the works that 5 furlongs and 58 and 4-2 back. I think she's going to like the dirt. I think she's going to like the Del Mar dirt. So lots of angles to like there. And also, by the way, Richard Baltus, 7 for his last 13 with second start maiden special weight dirt sprinters.
Pretty good with Cedillo at Del Mar too, 25%, $4.83 ROI. That doesn't suck either. I did not use this horse. I don't love the rail in these races. I realize this is a second start, but that 6.5 furlongs at Del Mar, it's a funky distance with the rail because you have that cutover, and the one horse often ducks in, then weaves out again. And with these 2-year-olds, I have a little bit of concern about that rail draw. I also don't love the fact that this horse didn't run a step in debut either, and that would be my other knock on it. Never was not in last and just kind of kept fading backward. Didn't even get a little bit closer at any point. Just kept going the wrong direction. So I don't hate the play at 8-1. For me, I think it's going to be awfully hard to beat the 3 Dari Manor. Thank you for pronouncing that correctly, as I pronounced it incorrectly. With a horse like the one here, who I think is kind of up against it with the post position draw. The other horse I'm going to use is actually right to the outside of a Dari Manor, or outside of peripheral, and I have not looked at your ticket. I'm going to go ahead and use a 2-horse Little Laura. This one's kind of interesting to me. Look, Serin sends this horse out to Keeneland. The horse gets Jose Ortiz up top, doesn't take much money on the board, but breaks slowly, goes 7 wide, starts to make a little bit of that middle move, ends up closing the gap, finishing 4th 2 lengths back, and what I believe is probably a little bit tougher of a race. Broke out of the 2 post that day as well. When you're step slow out of the 2 post, I just mentioned how tough it is out of the 1, you're screwed. You're going right to the back of the pack. You're going to get shuffled, especially in these 2-year-old sprint races where everyone is kind of gunning. It's just a really bad situation. Now, obviously, we need to break better today, but the horse showed some talent. I think it's awfully interesting that Serin decided to debut the horse at Keeneland. Now we're getting second start, a little bit more experience. I think if anyone is able to get past the Dari Manor, it's going to be the 2-horse Little Laura. So I'm just going to go 2 deep here, and I'm going to use the 2 and the 3.
The big thing that I hated about the 2 Little Laura, did you look at that field of what's happened since that race? 7 horses. 7 horses have run back, including the 2nd and 3rd place finishers. It's not that none of them have won. It's that all 7 have missed the board in maiden special weights. I agree with you that was probably a better overall field than what this group is because it's Keeneland. But that is not a good result to come out of that race.
But they all ran in maiden special weights, Magic. We didn't have any drop down to maiden claimer. That's a good sign, right?
Sure, that sounds like something I would say if I was in your position. I'll allow it.
Come on, baby. Let's find it here. Yeah, no, the race didn't turn out great, but I still believe it was a little bit of a tougher spot to debut. And again, I found it interesting that we decided to debut at Keeneland. I think that means that they thought this horse was a little bit better than a lot of people expected. You kind of could see that from the off odds. So, look, I agree. I wish the race came back stronger. The best buyer, next out buyer is 65 from Halo Fire and finishing second. Little Laura's gonna have to improve here, but I think we've got a little bit of a shot there. And I don't want to spread here because I do like the favorite on top. I wouldn't knock you for singling the favorite here, or even making the decision to pass the pick 4, play the pick 3 back, and just leave this race off if you want to try it, if you have a big opinion in the last 3.
One complete long shot that I like, and I've got 2 tickets. I'm actually pulling a mic here. I've got a 50 center and a $2 ticket, and I'm going 3 deep in both of them in this race. I'm going to use the 7 side by side. This is a first-time starter for Karen Headley, who took over for her late father, Bruce Headley, when he passed. Jessica Pfeiffer is going to be riding this. Jessica Pfeiffer lost her buck. She's officially a journey woman rider. I don't think that's what it is. Yeah. But she's going to pick up this mount, and she's won before for Karen Headley. I like that this horse is going to be getting Jessica Pfeiffer because the one thing that she has always been good at from the very get-go is getting horses out of the gate and getting them running early. And I think this horse, if you look at the works on the page, there's not a lot of speed. I don't know if Jessica was working her in any of those days. I guess that she was aboard for a couple of them. There's a lot of stamina building there and not a lot of speed building. I'm hoping that Jessica can get this horse out of the gate and at least get her engaged on the backside. If she does, I think this horse has a chance because you love Jimmy Creed. He's 14% with debuting 2-year-olds. He's 17% overall with 2-year-old horses. The Dam won at age 2. The siblings, they only made one start at age 2, didn't win it, so I'm not going to count that in here. But because it's Jessica Pfeiffer and because I think this horse could be sneaky in here, I'm going to try and use her in here. I'm going to fit her in. And I know you didn't use her. Was it just because you used the favorite and you had to go shallow?
I had the 7 as one of the horses I thought you could use. So I was 3 with 2, and then I had 4, 7 as the next 2 that I thought you could use in this spot. Not a ton of information on the trainer side. I, as you mentioned, kind of took over the barn there. Karen Headley did. She's been able to get a couple prices home. You've seen her get prices home, or one price specifically home with Pfeiffer up. One of my concerns, and this is one of those things where I think people I think Jessica's super talented, and I agree with you. Her biggest trait is sending. The problem is the aggressive send is a really good move when you're getting a 10-pound weight advantage. The aggressive send's a really good move when you're getting a 7-pound weight advantage. When you're no longer getting a weight advantage, that aggressive send, you have to do it in a different manner, right? And so you always see these jockeys have very good numbers, and they usually take big time hits for the first couple months after losing that weight advantage because you have to change your game. I'm always kind of leery, especially with a 2-year-old, which I want to be sent with a rider that's now picking up that extra weight. So I'm usually a wait and see kind of person after someone uses their bug for a couple months, because I think you're going to see a natural regression, and then you're going to see how good that jockey is. And you think about Drayden Van Dyke, monstrous when he had that 7 to 10 pound weight break. Never been able to get back to those numbers since. So for me, it's a lot of those situations where you kind of have to take a step back and wait and see on some of these riders right when they lose their bug.
Yeah, it's a great point, and there's only one way to find out, and that's with time. Until then, we'll move on to the second leg of the late pick 4 sequence at Del Mar on Saturday, November 20th. It brings us to race 7. It's our only trip to the turf course today for a mile and a 16th, $50,000 starter allowance route for non-winners of 3 lifetime, and that's key for a horse that I'm using that I'll talk about in a minute. There's a field of 11 signed on right now, although who knows if by race day, if Peter Miller will be forced to scratch a couple horses in here because he keeps killing them off. Neither one of his horses are the favorite. We don't have to worry about that. That is the 2 Big Coop at 7-2, who, by the way, picks up Jessica Pfeiffer. Flavian Pratt is serving a suspension this weekend on non-stakes races, so that's why you're going to see him leaving all of his mounts that aren't stakes horses. Jessica Pfeiffer picks up the 2 Big Coop, 1 of 2 for Leonard Powell in here. Mike, the big field, lots of options. Where are you going on top?
I'm going to go with the jockey I just shit on. Let's take Jessica Pfeiffer on top.
Hell yeah!
Ironically, you can't make this shit up, right? Look, this is a race that's kind of devoid in speed. I think that in this case, Jessica Pfeiffer will be able to control the race. I think the only other real speed threat here is the 10 horse. So breaking out of that 2 post, big advantage going a mile and a 16th at Del Mar because you're coming out of that chute versus the 10. You're kind of swung wide. What I think ends up happening here is that the 10 horse Sly is going to end up taking the lead, and you're going to see Big Coop sit right behind that horse. I think it's going to end up that Big Coop's going to end up tripping out from the 2 post. Don't love the 7-2 price, but I do think that is the horse that's the most dangerous in this race. The other must use for me was the 4-horse Secret Club. One of the Miller horses. This one gets Bravo up. When you look back at Secret Club's last efforts, you just just seems to miss, but it's been against better. And so we're getting a little bit of a class relief here, dropping into a $50,000 allowance from 50 optionals. You had Pratt the last 2 times. This horse was running well, had trouble the last 2 times. I think Secret Club is going to get a decent setup, and I like that we have enough tactical speed to stay close. I mean, this horse, when there is a slower pace at a mile, is able to stay a length or 2 back and then have a big kick. That's the type of run I expect here. I think Secret Club's going to sit mid-pack and have the biggest kick coming home. It's just whether or not he can get up to those leaders who are probably going to be running at a slower pace.
So you went 5. I cheated and looked at your ticket. You went 5 deep. I went 3 deep. In an 11-horse field, the only horse we agree on is the 2. But I did I singled the 2 in my $2 ticket. I really like the 2 that much. The only thing I'll touch on that you didn't mention, he is the grade 2 place turf router Margot's boy. So there's plenty of reason to think that he's going to be able to handle this spot. As far as me, I'm going to go for a wild one, a little bit of a long shot here. The 8-horse. Do you want to try and pronounce it?
Epimithium?
Sure, we'll take that. Epimethium, I like that one. Yeah, I'm going to use Epimethium here. 15-1. Anna Mia, if you don't know, she started her training career out here in California. Ended up going out to the Midwest, comes back with this horse, and who comes with this horse is Alex Achard, the horse or the jockey who was riding In Love for Paulo Lobo, was in the Breeders' Cup Mile, won the Keeneland Turf Mile. Alex Achard, he's like, yeah, I'll come out here to California and ride this horse for you for no reason other than I've ridden it the last 2 races, and I think maybe it has a shot in California. This horse was not good, right? They were trying this horse in the dirt, really wasn't handling it. Anamia says, let me put him on the turf. Oh, hey, look, it woke him up. Oh, hey, look, he won. Oh, hey, look, he's run every race on turf. Has been pretty competitive, and he's slowly climbing his way up the ladder, like we've seen happen with the 2-horse. Slowly climb that ladder, get up there with that confidence built up. We know what this horse is good at. It's going 2 turns on the turf course. Here's what's also key about this horse. Mike, this horse has 1 victory in his career. This horse is punching way above his weight class here. This is a non-winners of 2 lifetime eligible for a non-winners of 3 lifetime race that they shipped in to run here. It's not like he's local and there was nothing else. They said, we're flying this horse to California and putting him in this race. Why?
I don't think they picked this spot. I think this was what was in the condition book and they ended up in. I'd be interested to see if we see
You don't
more...
ship this horse without looking to see what's going to fit for him. You see this spot in the condition book and you say we're shipping him for that. You don't send this horse who's not a stakes horse, who's a non-winners of 2 lifetime eligible over without an idea of what you want to do, would you?
Well, it depends how many you're shipping out. It depends if you ship 10 with this horse or if you just
That's
ship
true.
1 or 2. Like, so I would be shocked if this was the only horse that was in that shipment for me, right? So I'm assuming that there's a string of 10 or 12 horses, and then you're finding the best spots. And maybe this was the best spot that's protected on the turf. Going like, and this is about the same class level that we just ran at Keeneland, but yeah, I agree with you. You're not shipping this horse in for this race. You're probably shipping the horse in with some others, and you end up in this race. So I get what you're saying. I think there may be more to that story, though.
Well, that's why I'm picking up this horse at 15-1. There's too many reasons that I think this horse probably, especially with the buyers, the way the buyers have been improving, this horse kind of fits into this slot. So I'm going to use, I understand from a class perspective, the horse has only won 1 time in 12 starts, so I get that. But for me, I've got to use this horse.
And then I wouldn't talk you off it. The fact that the horse has improved consistently the last few efforts, I think, is good. It's just, for me, I think this is a pretty contentious race. I actually thought this came up pretty tough. And I think this is a awfully tough spot to sit in if you're not a horse that's only won once and only won at the $12,000 maiden level at Ellis Park. This is a pretty big step up from that. I kind of like the horse right to the outside, though. Best Chance. Talking about bugs, we're getting a 7-pound bug in Herrera here, who I think has been awesome. He's been great so far. It started early in his career, but been great in California. You look at the race 2 back over this Del Mar turf course. This horse was charging, just missed to Fantastic, was able to beat East Range, who I'm actually also going to use. So we'll talk about that horse in a second here. Next time out was your $2.60 favorite and had to angle 5 wide, didn't get the trip that they ended up wanting to, wasn't able to quite get to the leaders with a little bit slower of a pace up front. I have a feeling you're going to get a nice effort here from Best Chance. Best Chance also seems to like that Del Mar turf. We're getting 3rd off a layoff late in the 4-year-old season. This horse just ran a bullet over at Santa Anita. You get Sadler. I mean, I think that the 9 horse here at 6-1 is a pretty good price in a race that I'm looking to spread out in. You didn't use any of my. We're basically going to talk about every horse, aren't we?
Keep going. Yeah, just keep it rolling.
I'll talk about the 6-horse East Ran then. Look, if I like Best Chance, East ran right behind this horse, 3 back. We're getting back to the level, back to the race. This one is a little bit more of a stab, but getting the 12-1 price with a horse that has multiple efforts in the back class that are good enough to win it over the Del Mar track. Again, note that his 4 best turf efforts all came over this track, which I think is relevant. Then I'm going to use the 11 Midnight Joker, who's the other horse that was kind of involved in that back and forth between the 9 Best Chance and the 6 East Strand. The 11 Midnight Joker getting 6-1 on the morning line. Last time out, horse ran at this level, was able to close and make up some ground. A little concerned about the draw for the 11, but again, in a race where I'm spreading out here, I don't want to leave it off at 6-1.
Well, also with the 11, you remember with this race, you're coming down that turf chute. So this horse likes to take back, and Kent DeSormo, you saw him do that last time when he was aboard this horse. If he takes back early, he's going to pull right over to that inside rail, and he's going to follow the 2 horse and probably 4 other horses, but he's going to save ground. So if this was a straight mile race, I'd be more concerned than I am at a mile and 16th, because Kent's going to have a lot of time to pull back, get that horse settled, and get him moved over. I will say a big reason why I went pretty short here is because I think the 2 has a really strong chance to either go gate to wire or just be faster than everybody once they turn for home. So you picked the 10 horse to go possibly to the lead and beat the 2 there. So that's why I ended up going really short. I used the 7. This is the last one for me. I actually thought his last race on November 3rd, he was the best horse in that race. The problem is Joel Rosario got stuck inside, and then Joel Rosario forgot that he wasn't in New York, and he just went boom, 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 boom 5 times into another horse who ended up finishing last of 5, and then they put Foothill behind him. This was the best horse, I thought, in that race. It was a state-bred optional claimer. He is a Cal-bred, but I thought that the way he ran there told me this horse has got a lot of potential. Rosario saw fit to ride this horse and saw fit to play, IRAD bumper cars out there with him. So I'm going to use him in this spot 5-1. I'm hoping that holds on. I was actually afraid this would be closer to favoritism. So I'm going to take him. Why did you not like him?
He got beat by both. Best Chance and East ran 3 back at this or at the level, going a mile instead of a mile 16th. This horse has never gone over a mile. It's a little bit of a concern to me.
Yeah, yes. He's won at a mile and an eighth. You got to go more than 6. Back in April, he sat just off at a mile and an eighth and won. Yeah.
All right. So you're right. So the one time he has gone over, he's won. But I just don't think this mile and 16th is what he wants. Like Yeah, I guess I still don't like it with his number. The fact he's lost to 2 of these horses, I don't think that last race was that great. That was his first time he's run an 80 buyer. He's going to have to improve by 3 or 4 buyer points. I'm just not sure where that's going to come from. So it's the same knockout to me on both the 7 and the 8. You have to project improvement here for either of those horses to be able to win. And there's 3 or 4 horses where if they run their A- race, they're better than those. And that's kind of why I ended up on the horses I ended up. I went for the horses that were more consistent versus the ones that I thought you could project improvement toward, because I don't really see – I don't think there's an argument to why the 7 or the 8 are going to logically improve in this spot. And I think either one has to be able to win.
My quick counter is that the 8 has improved a little bit step by step, and the 7 just improved. But it's a lot to put into this one. And again, Mike and I are both very strong on the 2. Singled the 2 in my $2 ticket, so the 2 could very easily walk away with this one. We finally hit all of the horses pretty much in that race. So we'll move on to the 3rd leg of the late pick 4 sequence at Del Mar on a Saturday, November 20th. Race 8 is the Grade 3 $100,000 Native Diver Stakes. And, Mike, this is a race that's pretty much been an afterthought in years past. But this year we got 8. And, okay, it's not 8 world beaters, but, A, it's a Grade 3. B, for California Dirt Routes, this might as well be a Grade 1 race with the horses that showed up in here. Your favorite is going to be, that's right, 8 rings at 7-2, because Bobby B, our old buddy Bob Baffert, has not won that 2 but 3 horses. He's also got 8 rings and Axeman and Azul Coast. They all have different running styles. No idea what the hell is going to happen with any of these horses. What are you going to do on top?
I'm going to put 8 rings on top, simply because I think this is the fastest horse that's going to get to go first on the first turn. I mean, Established will probably be somewhat of a pace pressure on the inside, but really 8 rings and Axeman are the 2 fastest horses early in this spot. So I would expect that one of the 2 is going to make the lead. I would think it's going to be the inside one, and I would expect it's the Hernandez horse, not the Smith horse. And because of all of that, I'm going to put 8 rings on top. I think he makes the most sense out of those 3 to take. And it's one of those spots where you kind of either have to project that this is going to be an absolute pace meltdown or someone's going to go wire to wire. I think it's going to be tough for those middling horses to be able to get the job done. So I'm going to use the 6, 8 rings on top. But the horse that I thought was really interesting in this spot is actually the 8 horse, Kiss Today Goodbye. I mentioned where I thought there could be a pace meltdown. Kiss Today Goodbye is the horse that would take advantage of any type of pace duel up front. If the one Established does end up going with 8 rings, I think you could see that, a decent pace here, 22 and change, 45 and change, going to mile and 16th. That's going to set up for the 8 horse, who has been able to spring the upset over this Santa Anita track, or has been able to spring the upset going this distance and running a big buyer. So I'm going to go with the 8. Kiss Today Goodbye is my other must-use horse.
I am against Kiss Today Goodbye for 2 reasons. One, he doesn't like kickback. Eric Crueljack said that in the story that's on DRF. 2, you mentioned he won the 2020 San Antonio. What happened after that, Mike? He stopped using Lasix. What happened to Kiss Today Goodbye's performances after he stopped using... He died. This horse was dead last in San Diego Handicap because he bled very badly. He's running without Lasix again here. Adding blinkers is not going to fix that problem. I don't want anything to do with Kiss Today Goodbye until he can prove that he can run better than 6th, beaten 6 3/4 lengths behind anybody without Lasix. I can't get away. I can't use him knowing what I know about his performances without Lasix.
That's fair. And the non-Lasix issue, this thing is an issue. I'm always going to, and I'll consistently say this, I'm going to trust the trainer. Like if the trainer thinks that the horse doesn't need Lasix and is able to run, then I'm going to believe that the trainer is correct in running a horse in a Lasix race. Look, if they thought that he had zero chance of winning this race, they wouldn't put him in a race without Lasix. So because of that, I'm willing to take that shot here, especially when I think this thing sets up exceptionally well for Kiss Today Goodbye. So that fair point on the non-Lasix. But again, like Cruel Jack knows more than I do about this horse. He wouldn't. Yeah, he hates kickback. That's great. He also probably doesn't want the horse to finish last every time he runs him. And if he thought that was going to happen in non-Lasix racing, he wouldn't run in a non-Lasix race.
Well, that's why he's a sparkling 7 for 80 on the year. That Eric Cruel Jack knowing exactly where to spot his horse. sorry. I'm piling on Eric for no reason. A fun fact for you though: since this race left Hollywood Park, moved to Del Mar, 7 times it's been run before. All 7 winners were either first or second throughout the race. No pace meltdowns in the past, so you're expecting it to happen for the first time in the race's history at Del Mar. I'm making a big deal out of nothing. I'm with you. I don't trust Axeman at this race at 9 furlongs. I love 8 Rings. He was my top pick here. I only went 2 deep. I used the 1 established as my other pick. He's really interesting here because it's a $400,000 yearling. He clearly has problems trying to stay healthy. Doesn't even break his maiden until he's 4, and he does it Indiana Grant. The second he breaks his maiden, they throw him into a horses of racing age sale. He gets bought up for $100,000. Comes to California. The one time he ran a bad race, it was behind Ginobili. Ginobili just ran second in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. We talked about 8 Rings coming out of the Dirt Mile, how he was a pretty good 4th. He was very close to second, nowhere close to Life is Good. My concern with Established is that I don't know that I'm getting 6-1. I'm afraid it's going to be shorter than that, but this is a horse that's coming out of sprints that has pedigree to say he should be able to route no problem. Constitution, definitely we know he can handle 1 1/8. Bluegrass Cat, that also says 1 1/8 on the dam side. So plenty of pedigree. We just haven't tried it with this horse except once, the Ohio Derby when he was a maiden, and that didn't quite go too well. But I think I like this horse here. If I can get 6-1, I really like this horse.
Do you want to do a Established versus Kiss Today Goodbye head-to-head?
Yeah.
All right. We'll do a bottle of Woodenville.
No, nobody wins that one.
All right, we'll do a $20 Venmo of alcohol of your choice sent to the other person.
Perfect. I like it. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll pay it live on the next show. How about that?
Yeah, because I hate Established. I hate Established in this spot. I think this horse is trying to stretch out, and I don't really think this horse wants 1 1/8. I hate the post position draw. I don't think the horse is fast enough to get the lead. I have no confidence this horse can be able to close on these type of horses. I think Established is going to fold like a cheap lawn chair around the second turn.
That's the most adamant you've been against a horse of mine since Got Stormy in the 4-star Dave.
How'd that work out for me?
I'm listening. I'm like, I need to time code all this so in case I need to sit. Listen, it doesn't make sense to me with this horse's breeding that the one time he tried 1 1/8 was the Ohio Derby as a maiden. To me, this pedigree says he should be going, and Stidham and Baltus are not idiots. Like if they're not trying this horse at 1 1/8 before now, really, it is a little concerning. So I understand your concern with that.
Yeah, I don't understand why this. I don't see a path to winning. Anyway, other horse I'm going to use in here because I am going to use a third horse. I am going to go, and I want to make sure I get this right. I'm going to go the 5 horses, Azul Coast, which I realize I'm using the other Baffert, but this I think is kind of the tactical Baffert in this spot. Mm-hmm. Pratt decides to get aboard this horse, and we talked about how, okay, the race could collapse, and that's where I like the 8 Kiss Today Goodbye, where the race could be won on the front end, and that's where you get 8 Rings from. You know who's going to be sitting like right behind established 8 Rings in Axeman? That's going to be Azul Coast. You know who's the big races? Azul Coast. I think this could really just play out that like Azul Coast gets a hot pace in front of him, gets to sit right behind the speed, swings 4 right into the turn and into the lane, and is able to just run right on by. And everyone up front is gassed, and no one from the back is going fast enough to catch him. And Azul Coast ends up winning this race. So I'm going to go with the 5, 6, and 8 because I think the race shape favors the 5 quite a bit here.
Yeah, Azul Coast is the one horse that scares me here. His 2 races at Del Mar, both going a mile earlier this year, both really great. The first one was off of a break of almost a year, so you can forgive him for being a little short there. And then last out in the Awesome again, you see that he set the pace or pressed the pace and then faded very badly. If you remember that race, Azul Coast had one job, and that was to play protection for Medina Spirit. So Azul Coast did that job handily, and he gets rewarded with a nice class drop to the native diver. I'm very worried about this horse because Pratt is going to be riding, and if he gives him those 2 rides that he had at Del Mar this summer, the horse has got a good chance. If he gets any other ride, he doesn't have a chance. But Pratt aboard and those 2 rides he gave him, oof, I'm a little scared.
Yeah, it gets a little funky. Two of the horses we didn't talk about, Midcourt, the 2-horse here, I thought was a little bit interesting, but I just don't trust. And that was one of the main reasons the horse didn't end up on my ticket. You had multiple races, which are probably good enough to win this race from just a buyer perspective. But I'm not so sure how Midcourt's able to get the job done. I don't really like that 4-1 price. And then Jared's chiming in here. What about Wicked Trick, the 3-horse? This is another one where I looked at it a little bit, but I couldn't really figure out how this horse wins. And this is another one where we're stretching out, trying a mile and eighth for the first time. Lost to the 1-horse, going 6.5, 2 back. You look at that race, the 1-turn race at Belmont. That's the big problem for me. It's a 1-turn race. It's not 2 turns. So my concern with Wicked Trick is really the distance more than anything else. Did you like the 2 or 3 at all?
No, I famously hate Midcourt. I love when this horse gets run. The trip notes that I have here for Awesome Again literally says, seriously, why the hell was he entered? That's my trip notes for Midcourt in the Awesome Again. I have the same issue with him that I do with Kiss Today Goodbye, which is that he bled and he's running without Lasix. I actually like Kiss Today Goodbye more than Midcourt, if that actually makes sense. Wicked Trick, I'm with you. Don't like it because of the distance. That's pretty much all I can say about that.
Cool. Yeah. Battle Harbor was the only one we didn't talk about. I mean, this one to me was just kind of a couple low.
Has not won since November 2018. Love this horse to finish 3rd in this race. If he wins this race, every other horse in this field should be retired immediately. You come back, everybody just do one retirement lap parade, and you all go away. We're going to go away after we talk about the final leg of the late pick 4 at Del Mar Saturday, November 20th. It's race 9, a 5.5 furlong dirt sprint for maiden males 3 and up who are in for a $20,000 tag. Field of 10 entered, and just 4 total testicles between all of them. The 9-5 favorite is Dixie's 2 Stents, the 2-horse, a horse that my co-host very famously picked to win the 2020 Del Mar Futurity on this very show. So, Mike, 14 months later, do you regret that decision, and will you make that same mistake twice?
I got a good price. Oh, right? No, 2-1.
You had 2-1.
No, it's not a good price. I was looking at the next race. We got 30-1. That would have been a good price, but
yes,
lost 2.
That would have been better.
Lost to Essential Quality that day. Yeah, honestly, like Dr. Scheibel, Essential Quality, not bad horses to lose to. Looking back, those 2 horses turned out pretty good.
Coco's Candy.
We're not talking about that horse right now. First off, before we get into it, congratulations, Jared. That's awesome. Hit the late pick or the early pick 4 at Aqueduct for $10,000 today. Again.
Oh, nice.
Aqueduct, baby. Awesome. That's incredible, man. Yeah, the Equinedge had a couple shots there. Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. We'll be back on later tonight. We just got Charlestown, unfortunately. There's no Remington Park. But, yeah, we'll see you later tonight then, Jared. Yeah, look, the 2-horse should win this race, right? Like, the 2-horse should win this race, right? Like
should.
The 6 is faster. The 6 you're getting 5-1. The 6 you have more upside because this is the 3rd out. The 2-horse has just lost too many times for me to follow this horse up. And now we're in for 20,000. Like, this is just screaming someone else pay for this horse. We don't want him anymore. Just get him out of my barn. Like, you're going to see him in like a flea market at Del Mar next if they don't sell him here. I think the 2 has probably the best chance of winning the race, but man, I am not confident in this horse even a little bit. I put the 6 on top. I think the 6 has a good shot at going wire to wire here for all the reasons that I mentioned. Like, when you get into these races, these lower level claimers, I want the horse that's going to be in front, especially when you have, the 5 and the 2, who are probably 2 of your main competitors, which the 5 is at this point a lifetime made, and 0 for 18. And like, what's going to change now, especially after avoided claim last time out. And then the 2-horse here, like, should have won by now. Like, it's just that simple. And so I really don't have much confidence there. So I'm going to put the 6 on top. I did use the 2 as well as my second pick, but I like the 6 more.
I went 6-2 in this race. I looked at this and I told you before we went live, I said either the 2 wins because he's finally taking the bottom barrel class drop, the 6 wins because he just wires them, or somebody that I don't see coming bombs this thing. And at that point, I would have had to hit the all button, and it would have been too expensive for me. So I'm just going to go 6-2, and then I'm going to use the single to 6 in my $2 ticket. So you used 2 other horses that I did actually look at a little bit. Let's start with the 4-horse, Misawa, coming off the bench for Mark Glatt, taking the same class drop that we're seeing out of the 2-horse here, and probably is taking a better class drop because he looked better at the maiden 50K level. Is facing open company. He is a Calbred, but when you get this low, does it really matter? I don't think so. Why'd you like the 4?
Well, I like the 2 dirt efforts. I mean, when you kind of throw out you don't even need to throw out the turf effort in the middle. It showed speed, but the turf effort to me wasn't nearly as good. If you looked at the 4's first race, You watch the replay, really tough early trip, 21-4, 44-1 opening early fractions. This horse checked early and was close to those fractions. Never really had a chance in the race after that. Then you go back to that Los Al race in September where the horse showed a ton of speed, 22 flat, 45-3. Horse has been working out well. Glatt's pretty good off this layoff. I don't mind the Glatt Cedillo combo, and Cedillo is probably going to send this horse early. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm looking for horses that are going to be forwardly placed. I think the 4 is a logical horse to be forwardly placed. And I think that if you can get past, and I'm taking a couple swings with my 2, and we'll talk about the next one. It's a big swing. If you can get past the 2, the 5, and the 6 in this race, I think you're really going to balloon tickets because I don't see many people using anyone but those 3 horses. So I'm trying to be a little contrarian in these opinions and look for horses that might be a little outside the box, can help you get a price home. And to me, that the 4 horse is definitely one of those where we've seen enough talent and we've seen enough from the other horses that I think we have a shot at getting it home here, especially if we take a step forward off the layoff, which is definitely plausible here for a 3-year-old. Other horse I'm using is a wild shot here. Like I would, the 3 horse is 20-1. The 3 horse is not started. The 3 horse is 5 years old.
5 years old.
5 years old, first time starter. I realize there's some holes in this plan, but the workouts are pretty good, and the trainer is 9 for 63 on the year, and the trainer is 1 for 3 with a $24.13 ROI with first time starters. You get Franco up, who's a Sen jockey, and if you go back in the workouts, you got a 35-3 back in October. And yeah, it's a cheap bullet because it's 1 out of 5, but it's still a bullet. You have the workout 3 back out of a gate going a minute. I think this horse has a little bit of speed. Yeah, I know. There's some buts, okay? But like I said, I'm trying to get a little creative in this last race because I think that you could really balloon the payouts here. And I actually think this sequence could pay something because I don't love the favorites in all of these legs. So I'm going to end up going 4 deep here. I'm going to go 2, 3, 4, 6 and hope this 5-year-old firster's got some live juice in those bones. I know it's not the best argument in the world. I totally get that. But this to me is
a shit field. This is bottom level maidens.
You try and be I might get 40-1 on this horse. I wouldn't be shocked if I get 40 to 50-1 on this horse. And the workouts at least fit enough where if this horse wins, we could look at $5,000 back for the pick 4. Like this is so. I'm going to take a little bit of a stab here and spend $60 and see if we can get a big number home.
Well, I will say the 3 can say what only 2 others in this field can also say, and that's the 3 has never disappointed anybody. The 3 is yet to be a disappointment in a single race. So you've got that going for you, and you've got 7 horses that have been severe disappointments more than once. So at this point, listen, I'm going to defer to you because you're the Somobomb guy because you find horses like this, and it doesn't hit very often, but when it does, yeah, this where 8 rings wins, and you're going to get 5 figures and a payout for that. Whew. Crazy.
It wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad. Look, I know it's a little bit crazy, but these are some of the horses that you have to take shots at sometimes. And this is the race. These are the type of races where I am willing to take some pretty aggressive chances just because you're going to get the 2 horse that's way over bet. You're going to get the 6 horse that's way over bet. You're going to get the 5 horse that's way over bet. And it's going to create prices on everyone else in this field. So if you're able to get around those 3 horses with someone, it can create a lot more value for you long-term in tickets like this.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining Mike and I to go through Del Mar's late pick 4 on Saturday, November 20th. And continue to see a lot of love here in the comment section for Equine Edge, Mike. I don't know if you've seen that. You were talking a lot, so I don't know if you had a chance to look. But lots of people seem to be loving Equine Edge. You can catch Mike and Brady on tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on the Equine Edge YouTube channel. So check that out. Playing just Charlestown, but it will be a lot of fun. It's good chalk, bad chalk. So whenever you hear me ask Mike about good chalk, bad chalk, giving the show a shout out. If you're watching us live, thanks for joining us. Take a look down below. We got our tickets here. I will go ahead and start off with my tickets. Actually, you know what? No, I have 2 and you have 1. I will let you start.
Well, thank you for letting me start, Magic. I'm playing a 50-cent ticket here. I'm going to go 2-3 with 2, 4, 6, 9, 11 with 5, 6, 8 with 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 6. That'll cost you $60 for 50 cents. I'm elephant hunting here. I'm not lying. We're trying to get a big one home this weekend.
Hey, if that's what happens at Del Mar on Saturday, that's going to be pretty awesome. And I know Jared will be really happy, too. He's talking about riding with us. I've got 2 tickets starting with 50 cents. I'm going to go 137 with 278 with 16 with 26. It's $18. And then a $2 ticket, pressing my opinions, going 137 with 2 with 16. Singling the 6 in the last, that is $12. $30 total investment. I'm feeling a little chalky. Mike's going whale hunting, elephant hunting, as he said. So whichever way you want to play, we've got you covered. Mike, any final horse racing thoughts before we transition over to football?
No, I'm just loving horse racing right now, man. It's funny. Through the 3 days off after Breeders' Cup has gotten me so pumped. Just have the 3 days of the palate freshening, right, and be able to just kind of start over. It's been wonderful. Equinedge, I do love the pace thing. I've been loving that. Aaron's been hot over at Racing Dudes, so I've been enjoying. Like I check out his picks, following those, comparing to what Equinedge has, my handicapping. Like it's been nice to kind of get it going. It's been a good couple weeks, so we just got to keep it rolling right now. Feeling good about the picks. Got to keep going. Went 3 for 5, I think it was last week in the races that we did for Good Chalk, Bad Chalk. So we just got to keep the winners coming, baby.
It's awesome. I'm excited to check that out later tonight. We're going to go ahead and talk about some football now because, Mike, I need to switch back on the graphics there, but the Thursday night football is tonight. Due to Bet Sports, I actually missed it. I haven't had a chance. As soon as we get done with this, I'm going to go walk the dogs and take a listen. So I didn't get a chance to hear Papa Dude's latest potato chip thoughts, but all their thoughts on the college football and the NFL slate coming up this week. And then, Mike, of course, you've got the 6-packs you'll be working on. Any early games that you like?
Oh, this is a weird week, man. There's a lot of 2 and 2.5 point spreads, which just seem really funky. And then you have the Eagles are 2-point favorites against the Saints when the Saints were just 2.5 point dogs in Tennessee.
And almost won.
So basically, Philly and Tennessee are the same, and one's 7-2 and the other is 4-6. It's just kind of crazy when you kind of you compare some of these spreads and how they're managing these teams. Yeah. It's going to be a tough week. Look, I think that the over in Dallas KC is the squarest thing you could possibly recommend, but I don't see how either of those defenses stop anybody. That's sitting at 56 right now. That's going to actually be a lot of fun. I think the Raiders-Cowboys game is going to be a lot of fun, but I think the Cowboys are going to absolutely roll the Raiders. The Raiders seem like they absolutely quit, and you saw them, the defense, get the ball moved up and down the field against them. So Cowboys team total, Cowboys side, I'm into both of those. Maybe even the Cowboys first half, just because then you don't have to worry about the back door there. But I think the Cowboys have a good shot at taking care of business there. The Chargers giving 6 to the Pittsburgh Steelers is interesting to me. It's one of those, though, where you got that's in LA. It's going to be 70% Pittsburgh fans. And so it's going to be very tough to have. You're going to have a lot of Pittsburgh fans there, and at some point you've got to think the Chargers are getting frustrated with their own stadium being filled with the other team's fans. As for tonight's game, it just moved to 7 on the book that I'm looking at. I think I would probably take the Falcons at +7, which kind of scary to say because this is just one of those classic okay, you follow football. What happened last week? The Patriots absolutely steamrolled the Browns, right? And Atlanta got absolutely steamrolled by Dallas. So who would bet the Patriots? Give me the points with the Falcons. Like that, right? Like when you have these situations where it's everything sets up that you just saw on Sunday. Your last reaction was the Patriots are dominant and the Falcons suck. And the line didn't move until right now before the game to 7. Like, to me, that means that you're getting the books are taking a side with the Falcons here at +7. I think that I would rather take the Falcons with the points, especially on a Thursday night with a rookie quarterback. I like the under, to be honest, more than anything. I expect that the Patriots are going to run the ball quite a bit in this spot. I don't think Atlanta's going to have that much success moving the football up and down the field. I wouldn't be shocked if we see like a 2017 type game, and the total right now is sitting at 47. So for me, I like the under more than anything else, but I would also lean toward taking the Falcons and the points.
Dr. Ting is going absolutely nuts in the chat right now. I love it. Just all caps from him. I love it.
It's the oldest thing in the world. Like NFL sports bettors, most people who bet on sports, they look at the last result. And when you have such variance in it, your commonality is like the Patriots are going to roll. That's just what's going to happen. When there's just so much up and down in the NFL where you're not getting these efforts every single week, and you just saw the best possible effort from one team and the worst possible from the other. So then if you look at a motivation factor, you would expect the team that just was terrible is going to be highly motivated, and the team that just blew someone out is on cloud 9. You would expect regression and expect improvement, which would make you lead toward taking the underdog in this spot. But most people look at this and say, the Patriots rolled, Atlanta sucked, I'm taking the Patriots.
Well, for more insight on that information, on all the football games that are coming out, check out Dudes. God, I can't speak all of a sudden. This is the end of the show. Dudes Who Bet Sports 26 with Papa Dude and Aaron Halterman. That is live. Again, the Racing Dudes Blinkers Off show was actually live yesterday, so you can go check them out. They covered Aqueduct's late pick 4. I think it's probably best that we didn't cause a civil war, and we go to Aqueduct and then give out another winning ticket there. And, then Jared has to come eat crow on another show. But we've got you covered with multiple tracks over at racenews.com, so make sure you check that out. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. I am at Curtis Kalleward. He is at Somobomb 18, number 1, number 8, corporate warlords at racing_dudes. Racenews.com for all the horse racing. Racenews.com/sports for all of the football information. We'll be back on Monday for all of the recaps. Until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll be back Monday, like I said. Until then, good luck.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.